All right. Welcome everyone to Catalyzing Change Week. We're so happy to have you here, joining us as we explore bold ideas and practical pathways to transform systems and create meaningful impact. Today, we're joined by our amazing speaker, Raizan. She, and she's a dedicated innovator and social entrepreneur who's passionate about creating change. She will be introducing us to the topic From Stories to Systems, My Journey as a Social Entrepreneur. As we start this week, the theme for today is mental health and well-being. So I'll be playing a short video by one of our members, Lubna, highlighting well-being and art for social change.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm Lubna Dajani, Chair of Catalyst Now USA Chapter and Managing Director of Ultimate. It is my honor to welcome you to the inaugural day of CCW2025, a day dedicated to mental health, well-being, and the undeniable role of art in social change. Around the world, mental health challenges affect nearly 1 billion people. That's right, about 13.6% of our global family. Anxiety impacts 284 million, depression reaches 264 million. And more than 700,000 lives are lost to suicide each year. The economic costs, over $1 trillion. Still, only 9% of those diagnosed with depression receive treatment. These numbers only stand to remind us how deeply this impacts each and every one of us. But today isn't only about the challenges. Today is about how we can change the narrative. Across the globe, artists and social innovators together are building models of care that are accessible, inclusive, and are rooted in real lived experiences. Technology extends our reach and unlocks our hidden creativity. And art isn't just a reflection. It's an active force in healing and connection. Art turns stigma into understanding, and it opens safe spaces for sharing. It sparks compassion and mobilizes communities for social change. Today, you will see and hear how artists and innovators are using culture and imagination through music, storytelling, and visual arts to challenge norms, change narratives, and spark new possibilities. By caring for each other and by competing to complete each other's work to a common goal, and by embracing empathy, imagination, and creativity, we can truly reimagine the systems that are shaping our world today. I welcome you, CCW 2025.
All right. So I would like to invite you, if you're passionate about building together and co-creating, I would like to invite you to join Catalyst Now community of over 6,000 members. And if you'd like to go deeper, we will host a discovery session taking place in November 7th, 2 p.m. CET. Of course, a special thanks to our ecosystem partners and all the leaders who make this work and this week possible. Would like to go beyond just today's session, so share your experience and your takeaway and tag us on social media using the hashtag CCW25, hashtag Catalyst Now. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube to join the momentum. Thank you so much. And I will now pass it over to our amazing speaker. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Elif. Hello, thank you so much for joining my session. Is this Reed? Oh, do you want to share the screen?
Oh, can you see my screen?
Oh,
Or you would like to share your screen?
I mean, I didn't see screen share. Did you? Oh, okay. Now I saw it. Sorry, my bad. Okay, great. So I'm Reed. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining my session. And I'm a co-founder of Data Story Project. And we started in 2014, July. So it's more than 11 years. And I'm going to share my 11-year journey in few minutes, so please bear with me. And if you have any question, you can send through chat, or maybe after the session we can have discussion, and I'm welcome to discuss with me so that I can learn from you, not only from me. Okay, next please. So this is me, and this is the photo in 2018. It was our third office, but this is where we started connected with um, communities. That's why I chose this photo to present it. And I'm also one of the co-chair of Myanmar chapter. And this is my educational background. And before I share about what we have been doing with the story project, and what kind of things we are trying to change and regarding with stories, I would like to share a little bit of the belief. Next please. So what I believe is, I believe in education, and also I like to listen to stories. When I was young, I used to listen to stories from my grandparents and my parents. And I believe that if we break down socioeconomic problems that we have been facing into children-sized problems, a lot of problems can never be erased. We will break down the problems into stories, and children can learn as a scenario in their daily life, again and again. After that, they already understand what is peace, what is the diversity, and most of the problems we have been facing can be solved by learning stories when they are at your age. That's what my belief. So that's why I joined this organization. So basically, we are non-profit social enterprise. We create children storybook with positive messages. Next, please. We create children's storybook with positive messages, and it's been 11 years, as I mentioned earlier. So as you know, we are from Myanmar. In Myanmar is the country that we have been civil wars for almost 68 years, and it impacted to our daily life, and not only economics and stable, but also safety. We have till now we have a lot of problems, and before 2021, most of the problems are based on different ethnicity, different religions. We have a religious conflict, we have a ethnicity conflict, and also we have a lot of borderlines and ethnicity and group conflict. So it impact to us. And when I grow up, but I live in city in my country. When I grow up, I haven't faced um, any conflict yet. When I was a university student, because my parents made sure that I live safely. But what I have seen is, I saw a lot of children who became beggars, or I understand that there are a lot of orphanage in our community, and I wanted to help that, but I didn't know how to do. So as a Buddhism, what we do is like, okay, donation is one of the solution. So that we founded a volunteer group in 2011. I have my own volunteer group. We started visited to monastery education, churches, mosques, so that we can donate stationery and other necessary supplies for the children. So who are those children, right? So children, most of the children are from rural area and conflicted areas. So they are like, most of them are fatherless, motherless, orphanage, and they need to live safely. That's why they have to come to the city, and they have to live at monastery or church or mosque. And those places give free accommodation, free education. So but the government, the former, I mean, or the government couldn't provide anything, couldn't provide enough for those children. So the community need to jump in to fill the gap. So we are one of the volunteer group who try to fill the gap. And in 2012, we met a lot of other volunteer group in Yangon who also have same passion for the children. For example, Myanmar storytellers. They founded in 2009, which is 3 years ahead of our organization. But they tell story. They didn't donate anything, but they visited many schools and they tell stories. And we also met another volunteer group called Benevolent Youth Yangon. They founded in 2011. They also have the same thing that we have been doing. So we work together. So we met a lot of different volunteer group as a network. We call ourselves Yangon-based Youth Volunteer Network, and we work together for education, youth development, economic empowerment, and also blood donation. Every kinds of charity things we have been working together, especially for disaster relief and conflict affected area. We work together. And as I mentioned earlier, I like to read the story. Like to listen to stories. So we became friends with the Myanmar storytellers. As I and you know, because my own experience, I don't play a lot in my life. I just read the stories when I have free time. But it's so difficult to get a book, even though our parents are our parents came from middle income family. So I just reflected my own experience whenever I visited to schools, and I just look for library, but there is no library at all at a lot of schools. Even I joined one of the best schools in my country, but we have library and the library are closed. That's why we never had experience to read storybooks at library. So I started donating schools and libraries. I mean, not big library, of course, small library, because I was also a student, so I don't have a lot of money. So, but I asked my friends to provide some money so we could donate it, right? So when it's been like some years, we purchase storybooks and we donate books, but I haven't seen a good storybooks. Next, please. So before 2014, most of our storybooks are translated books from different countries, and it doesn't reflect to our nature, our character. And most of storybooks are related for majority, which is Buddhism and Burmese culture. In reality, in our country, we have different religions and different ethnicities who is also living together harmoniously. So we need storybook for them too. When I visited to church or mosque, it's so difficult to find a storybook related to them, and I feel a little bit uncomfortable to bring those books only focus on Buddhism and Burmese. But I was an engineer at the time. I don't know what to do. And most of the storybooks I have been purchasing was outdated content, because I have been reading those stories when I was 10 years old, 15 years old. And when I became like 20 years old, the same storybooks. And most of the storybooks are lack of illustration and lack of quality paper. That's what we found it. And but then to 2012, that I met with different volunteer groups, we started understanding that there are a lot of conflicts based on ethnicity and based on diversity. So we want to create a storybook. We understand that if we met where other ethnicity, I'm also ethnic, one of the ethnic in my country. Well, whenever we met another ethnicity group, they said that we are better people. And also my parents say that our ethnicity is better than other one. In reality, it's not true. It's not about ethnicity, it's not about religion, it's about just people, right? So we know that it's not true and we don't know what to do. But later, when we have a discussion at our English class talking about updated education stories and the conflict, we discuss daily, and we understand that we need something to solve this problem. What should we do? And later we said that, okay, we know we are working for the children. Most of us are working for the children. Most of us are trying to solve the problems, social economic problems by ourselves. And most of us know how to tell story because we work with Myanmar storytellers. Myanmar storytellers group tell story every week, and they need a lot of volunteers. After working with them together, we became one of the storytellers because they need volunteer. So we just jam it. So why don't we create stories? That's how it happened. So we started in 2014. Next, please. So as I mentioned earlier, this is all about from stories to system, right? So how do we do it? Firstly, we want to solve the problems, especially peace, diversity, tolerance problems that we have been facing. So we create children's storybook with positive messages. We call ourselves that story project. Why? The first story, people say that we are better. The second group, people say the second story, they say we are the best. Actually, we want to create a story, that story, telling that we are good. We can live with harmony. We can live peacefully. We can work together. That's why we create story called That Story Project. Firstly, we create children's storybooks. Next, please. So what kind of storybooks we produce? There's a little chicken egg story. Here, the little chicken is the character. He was so happy with his family. And one day, there was a fighting with roosters. And because of that, he has to flee and he was lost in the forest. Fortunately, he met a group of volunteer roosters who are kind and hardworking. They rescued the little chicken egg. And later, he has to live in the camp and he got education, he got free food and everything, but he was not happy. He was sad all the time. And later, because thanks to volunteer roosters, he reunited with his family. Based on these stories, based on his experience, he wanted to become a teacher so that he could educate to other little chicken and to be kind and not to fight. So this is the stories. So every story we have at the back of the story we have questions so that children can reflect and discuss and connect with their audience and make sure that they understand. The next stories. And the next story is Pompong the Gardener. So this is all about a small female monkey. She is eager to learn. She's hardworking, and she always trying to learn, update herself, and tested in the garden. And the chief monkey recognized her dedication on gardening and continuous learning. So he believed in Pompot, the small female monkey. But the community didn't believe her because she was a female and a small monkey. So community said that we want stronger male leader, and because of that, the chief created a fair contest and give the responsibility to build a beautiful garden respectively. And later, after a few months, they revisited to them. When they saw it, they saw that you know a two beautiful garden. But at the end of the day, Pong Pong the gardener became the leader. She proved that leadership is not only about strength but also compassion. So this is kind of the stories. And next, please. Of course, we have a lot of story about environmental issue, saving the environment, trees, and also reducing the plastic. Next, please. And we also talking about hygiene. Next, please. And we talk about human bodies and next, please. And there are a lot of storybooks. We have first, we focus on peace, diversity, tolerance, gender equality, women empowerment, environment, children rights, and also mental. We have storybook for mental health, but we didn't produce it yet because we need finance. And we have financial management, And we have a lot of storybooks for the children. So the first thing we do as a That Story project to change the world, to change a better place, we create the stories. Yes, please. So as I mentioned earlier, we want children to feel that these storybooks are related with them, right? So we mainly produce Burmese language because national language is Burmese. But we don't forget other minority languages too. So we try to translate into other ethnic languages. We have 18 ethnic languages. We also translate into English because this is also necessary. And we have one Italian book. We have a storybook for ASEAN countries. We have storybook without words too because sometimes you don't need to know alphabet to read the books. You just need to understand how facial expression and how the thing is working by looking the photos. So we make sure that they can read not only in Burmese language but also in their own languages so that it make them feel that this is story for book for us. Okay, second things. This is second thing. Second is we create storybooks. Then what? Of course, we need to distribute. For our goal, our purpose is we want children to read, right? So we need to distribute the books. Next, please. So we distribute them to reach as much as much as many children as possible. So we try to distribute. We for the we as I was a volunteer at young age, I know a lot of people in my country. So a lot of people help me to distribute the books. So for distribution, we only need some budget within the city. After we distribute from the bus station, most of the volunteers help us to distribute by themselves. Sometimes they need to carry by with so sometimes they need to carry by themselves because there's no transportation at all. So there are a lot of volunteers who help us to distribute the books. So for 10 years we have distributed over 1 million books across the country with free of charge. So this is only for this is the numbers are only for the free of charge distribution. And in our country, we have 300 townships. Next, please. We have 300 townships. That 300 townships, we have 330 townships, and we reached 300 townships. So it's almost 90% of the area. So we already distributed a lot of books, and we also created over 100 books already. Next, please. So we are not just we are not just distributing the storybooks. We are disseminating the information, the positive messages, right? That's why we have like a lot of channels. Firstly, social media is not a lot, right? So we distribute through the social media, and we have contract with radio stations, TV channels, and we also have like uh, contract with universities, schools, and yeah, our storybooks are almost everywhere. So that's why we try to distribute. We make sure that every child in Myanmar receive our books. Sometimes they have received our books with free of charge. Sometimes they listen from YouTube or radio station. That's what we have been doing. The third one. The third one is we are not just sharing stories, we are shaping futures. At the beginning, I said that, next please. At the beginning, I said that we want to change the behavior of the children. We want to make sure that they understand our storybooks. We want to change the world. So how do we do that? So we would like to shape futures. That's why we make sure that the books we produce, children has to own the books. because in our countries, like back then 2017, I met like a lot of like at least 100 young people from different places, and I interviewed them personally, and I learned that they are from like borderline, they live in borderline, and I learned that they never have or any storybook in their life, even though they are almost 25, from 25 to 35 years old. So we make sure that they read the books. But how do we know that they read our books, right? Storytelling is our tradition, one of our tradition, our culture, but not story reading. In other countries, they have a bedtime stories. Of course, if you see, like, look into it, do they read the storybooks in Myanmar? You may see, yeah, they see, they read the storybooks. You will find it is because our effort, not only from the Story Project. There are other organizations who we work together. But before that, a lot of people believe that if you cannot read alphabet, you they parents didn't buy the books, so that they think that, oh, you cannot read the books, you don't know anything about alphabet, you don't need to read the books. They tell the story, but they don't read the books. That's how our culture works. So we need to change this habit. So we do a lot of trainings. We make sure that they read the books, and sometimes storybooks can help people connection. So, but our audience didn't know how to do it. That's why we need to train them. Next, please. Therefore, we did a lot of trainings for volunteers, because at first we are volunteers. So, at first volunteers, later teachers, librarians, community leaders, and parents. So we did a lot of trainings. So what kind of trainings we have? Next, please. So in the training, we teach how to tell stories and what to do before, during, and after story sessions. How to create stories if you don't have storybooks. Of course, at the time we cannot. I mean, even right now we can produce a lot of storybooks. We can create a lot of stories, but we cannot actually turn into real storybooks because it can cost a lot. But children need a lot of stories. That's why we need more people to create stories. That's why we teach how to create stories. And as I mentioned earlier, we want people to understand beauty of diversity. That's why we teach peace education. And also we believe that children needs to know, not only children, but also parents need to know, or guardians need to know children rights. So we teach children rights. And later in 2020, because of COVID, we started teaching about digital and information literacy for parents, teachers, and community leaders who work with children. And we also tried to teach, one time we did, but after that we couldn't do it anymore because of other things. Also did reproductive health education. Our target audience are different based on who. Sometimes they request, sometimes we ask them that we are going to do the trainings. So we have our target audience are children starting from 10 years old to like 60 years old teachers. So we do like teacher library, and we, based on the audience, we customize our training. Of course, we have a lot of, I think we have trained more than 1,000 participants in 11 years. So we have three things. One is create storybooks, distribute the books, and we make sure that they read our books, because our storyboard is not just a stories. They have a lot of, story have one lesson, so that they can discuss with teachers, librarians, and children. Next, please. So another one is we are building a community. Of course, one day parents read storybooks, or children read storybooks, or teacher read storybooks to children. One time is not enough. If we want to change, one time is not enough. That's why we have to build a community, so that they can nurture together, and we can change I'm sorry. Let me drink water. So we also so we have to build a community. So to build a community, what we do is we we visited to a lot of places. Personally, we did a lot of trainings. Not only trainings, we create a community so that people have more empower, and we make sure that uh, we have resources. So we did a lot of things before we yeah. So another one is like, next please. 2014, most of our storybooks are focusing on 10 years old kids, but in 2025 they are getting older. Of course, 11 years. Sometimes they became like 20 years old. But but in Myanmar, the children literacy has a huge gap. Even though we have been here for 11 years, but books for adolescents has very big gap. That's why we have to fill the gap so that children can match the stories with their own age and experience. So we create storybook for adolescents so that the children have continuous learning. And next please. Another one is some places we cannot, so especially these years, we cannot send books for a lot of places. Sometimes they don't have internet. If they saw the books, we cannot distribute. So we need to change our product to board games and other board games so that they can receive our books with, and they can play with it, and they also still can learn important messages. And because it's a digital age, so we also create YouTube channel, and put we also create 247 videos in YouTube channel, so that not only Myanmar but also who left from the country receive our storybooks and they can listen to our storybooks. Next, please. And later we also create magazines, and we also have like Balasada program is for uh, uh, illustrators how to illustrate. And we are trying to nurture, empower young artists, not only creating storybooks but also illustrating so that they have their career in illustration. So that's what we do. And next, please. So we have been studying from 2016 to 2019. We did a lot of trainings. We visited many places. So we, as I mentioned earlier, we have more than 1,000 storytellers. Among them, 300 storytellers are our focus storytellers who are youth, university students, and most of them are early stage staff. So they have some free time, so they tell stories and they do a lot of performance. And we did a forum in 2019. The forum is one of the biggest storytelling. Actually, it was biggest Myanmar first storytelling forum, because after 2019 we couldn't do it anymore. So, but this is not just a forum. This is the proof that we have at least 300 storytellers, because those 300 storytellers are not one-time storytellers. We chose 300 among 1,000 because they showed their dedication on storytelling. They visited to schools almost every week. They visited to park, market. They do community storytelling, not only for children but also for teachers or communities. So some places, whatever they have education forum or education events or children events, they invited to our storytellers to tell their story. So this became like habit that whatever they have event, oh, I need to invite Myanmar storyteller or the story project volunteer storytellers. So they invited us to tell stories. So at the event, peace forum, we tell story about peace. If they have environmental forum, we tell story about environment. If they have plastic reduction event, they invite us. We tell story about plastic reduction. That's what we began. So our storybooks are not only recognition by Myanmar children. We have a storybook that is we got an award from Italy. Next, please. And we got award from Italy, and this is the friendship between Italy and next, please. Friendship between Italy and Myanmar. So we create a storybook, and we got award from the Friend of Pinocchio award. Next, please. And for this storybooks, is from our folk days. Is distributed to Asia, and one of the story from us, which means that we got recognized from ASEAN countries, Asian countries. And some of our storybooks are included in national curriculum right now, which means that every children who join schools, they read our storybooks and they discuss our storybooks about peace and environment and diversities. Yes. So why I was explaining all the products, but this is not the whole product yet, but why I was explaining. For me, building community is not just people, also other supporting document. Book is not enough. Story is powerful, but it's one time storytelling is not enough. We need repetition, not only from storybook, but also from educational board games, community events, radio, YouTube channel. Or we also have animation. One or two storybooks have animation. We do animation too. So we are making sure that children have a concrete community who is telling positive messages. That's why we are creating a community. So from stories to system, we have idea. Next, please. We started with the idea. Later we change we change a story, and we use storybook as a tool, and we started reading the storybook. We started telling the storybook for children. Not only reading the storybook, we do a lot of activities too, and we make sure that they have not only knowledge but also supplies for other activities, extracurricular activities. So we create educational materials. We are creating culture so that whenever they have a community event, they think of us, they invite us. And we also make sure that they have different media so that they get access. And we make sure that everyday life we involve their daily life, and we also make sure that community take action. Before 2020, wherever they have events related with children and education, they invite one of us. Whether like sometimes we live in city, sometimes the events happen in northern part of Myanmar. There are a lot of events at once, and we cannot go by ourselves. We have a small team. So, but we have many volunteers who represent us, who have the same mission, share mission with us. They join as a representative. That's how we do it. So, that's it. Not that's it. Let me drink water. Next. So, I was talking about how we move from stories to system, right? I want to show that one of the strong evidence which happened in recent year. In 2018, we extended our office as a showroom in what is like city center. And as you know, in the city, it's very crowded. The children never have place to enjoy. And we start, of course, in 2018, some libraries started opening, but it's not enough yet. So we open a showroom. In the daytime, it is showroom. After office hour, after school, it turned into community centers, and I work as a volunteer community librarians. We allow children to come and read the books, play indoor games. Sometimes I create activities for our storybooks, and sometimes we test that with the children. But testing with the children is not our main priority, but uh, of course I'm working on it, so children are there, so why don't you play with them, and I check with them their reaction and everything. So it was a great time with us, and later after a few weeks I have regular 40 children around that area. Later, I had the conversation about playground. Of course, in the city, having a playground is very difficult. But a few blocks away, there was a playground made by the government, which is really nice. But it, it will take some time to reach our part. So one of the children said that we also wanted to have a playground. And as I was a children right educator, I know about what to do. So I just say like, hey, why don't we create playground by ourselves? And of course, I'm not leading them. I'm nurturing them. I empower them. So they have like weekly and meetings at our places, and they started trying to create a playground. They talk about this idea to their parents, their community leaders, and they started cleaning at the back of the apartment. And between the apartment, there's a space, right? So they clean it up and they try to have a playground for them. Unfortunately, it was less than 2019, and after that there was an exam, and before they finished the exam yet, we have a COVID-19, which slow down, which make everything pause. So it was happening like, it was happening, it was started everything. So after a few, in 2020, we have cool. I lost contact with the children because we already moved places. And later, I told this story to one of the authors, and they created storybooks. After that, we distribute the storybooks. But one of a group of children from far away from our city read our storybooks, and they inspire, and they do the same thing. They still run this, they created their playground. As you can see, there's a playground. They 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 did from scratch, and now this playground stay operate. This is the real life example of how stories can make impact to the community. Next slides. So we have a lot of feedback from different people, as you see, and this is only few example of who we are working together. Okay, next please. So I see some. So how we are non-profit social enterprise, which means that all the profit goes to the Destry project. How do we get our income? How do we generate income? Of course, as a social enterprise, we need to sell our storybooks. That's why I'm saying that, we donate books for the children who cannot afford to buy the books. But we sell the books for the big children who have many. And we also sell many books to Save the Children, World Vision. So they buy thousands of books. So that's how we got the profit. Of course, we also accept donation, and sometimes we got some in-kind donation from CSR, working with CSR programs, and sometimes embassies. Next, please. So I was talking about all the beautiful part of our journey. As you know, as a social enterprise working in a crisis-affected country, our path has been full of challenges. Between 2014 to 2016, we started from scratch because we are We transformed from volunteer groups to a non-profit social enterprise. We know nothing about how to organize an organization. I never worked before we started this organization. We were just a volunteer at the time. And we had to figure out how to register a company, how to manage funds. We didn't know how to set prices and how to do marketing. So most of my friends are also journalists. Most of our other co-founders are journalists. They don't know anything about business too. So we need to learn a lot of things. In 2016, we received the Young Social Entrepreneur Award. It didn't come with financial support, but it gave us something even more precious, which is hope. It reminded us that our dream could grow into something real. But unfortunately, we don't have any policy for social enterprise. We have a problem with tax. We don't get any support from government. We try to solve the problems. I believe myself as a social entrepreneur. As a social entrepreneur, I didn't only focus on building my own organization. I also contributed to the ecosystem of Myanmar social enterprise community. But it was not enough. So we have a lot of problems until 2020. It was our very first pandemic. We were shocked. We didn't know what to do. It's like, running a marathon with a full of energy and somebody just, started by hitting us. We don't know anything. We just stopped everything for a few weeks. But later we figured out how to do it. We changed most of our stories to digital storytelling. We provided digital information and digital literacy. But nothing compared to what came in 2021, which is cool. When political instability changed everything. The novels we have it, the story we have trained, the storytellers we have trained, like you, parents, teachers, our partnership with universities, schools, TV channels, radio station, some government agency, libraries, now what? Everything was suddenly displaced. Our country is facing one of the hardest time it is in its history in 67 years. Many have lost access to school and safety and even to stories. They live in fear, surrounded by uncertainty and danger. It's heartbreaking. Next, please. As much as we believe that stories can change the world, we also need peace and stability for stories to thrive. Honestly, I lost hope for a few weeks. Thanks God, only few weeks. Even though I believe in stories, because the the change was huge. So even though I survived in 2020 COVID-19, in 2021 it was so difficult to accept. It was very difficult. But this is not only Myanmar challenge, because Myanmar share borders with 5 countries: Bangladesh, India, China, Laos, and Thailand. Across these borders, there are refugee camps and displaced families. Even in the middle of the country, many children live in hiding or in temporary shelters. If you Google it, you will know more about it. Most have lost their chance to study for 6 years, which we counted for COVID-19. They have lost years of learning, but because they grow up under constant fear and trauma, they are searching for healing. Just imagine thousands of children growing up without ever learning what is right or wrong. With proper education, what will our region look like in 20 years? Thousands of children who never have experience to learn something properly. So Myanmar has a very big problem. And it will become regime problem. So children need education, but they also need stories that connect them to their families, their communities, and to the world. And it can help them to heal because story as fun and entertainment. They need it. They don't have fancy as other children have, like TV or radio or games. They don't have it. But stories can make it happen with low budget. That's what I'm telling you for it. So next, please. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of problems. Even though we have victory, we have a lot of successful and evidence in the past. We don't have, we lost a lot of things, but we stay continued. We stay create a lot of storybooks after 2021. We stay do trainings, even though we couldn't go in person anymore. And we stay trying to distribute with free of charge as much as possible. That's what we do, but we need help. Please spread the word that about us, about Myanmar. Please promote us. And sometimes, if you are interested in one of the our storybook, please translate. And also, please donate books, not only for us, not only with, you know, as long as you donate books to some children in Myanmar, which is great. And you also please collaborate with us. So this is end of my stories of my journey from story to sister. And thank you so much for listening. And let me read the question first so that I can discuss some of the question quickly. And I promise that I will make sure that, you know, I will make sure it will be very quick. Thank you so much for the, inclusiveness in the industry project. Thank you. Yeah, I got financial support from some, of course, I also applied some grants from different embassies before 2021. And I also charged some many charge fees for training. Most of the trainings, sometimes we charge money only for INGO. Like if Save the Children request for the training, we charge them. But for the communities, we don't charge because storytelling is not like a business training, right? But we started charging in 2019 for the parents and teachers. But after 2021, we cannot do that thing anymore because a lot of people are getting poor. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm not sure. Mudadi Saidi, thank you so much for telling me this. I'm really interested in domestic violence, GBV, and also the thing. I'm really interested that we should create these storybooks because, to be honest, in our country we don't have a single organization who can rely this one. In our country, beating others is like a habit. Nobody talk about this. Even though we talk about this, they say like this is just a normal. I really want to work with you and later because I'm really interested in this topic because this is really important issue. Thank you. Oh, yeah. So I love this question. Government curriculum. I did a lot of things. All I do is talking about the story project every day. I work at least 12 hours per day. Not anymore. I'm sick now. I mean, now I'm not very healthy anymore. But then I talk a lot. I visited all the events, work with them, and at the time in 2018 and 19, the government are willing to update. We did a lot of we join a lot of educational forums. We talk with a lot of people who can decide. Later, they left our stories, and we also we even train them how to write stories for the create project. So the people who are creating curricula, some of them are our participants. So later they left our story, and so we gave them like 4 stories. But actually, I want to have a one subject as a like peace education. But I was this is my hope, but everything's changed. So I think for your question for Holy, and for how did I persuade the government to accept the storybook into schools? It's like networking, and I'm good. So a lot of people who buy our books are not from the you know leaders. Of course, we talk with the leaders too, but we visited to a lot of places. We train a lot of teachers. We so training teachers only 1,000, but we did a lot of webinars, workshops. So a lot of people already understand who we are. So they approach us. So I think constant working and dedication to make sure that they understand our purpose make them to accept our storybooks. Yes, I can. Thank you. I can share my presentation. Thank you. Oh, I want to send to Africa. Uh, next, please. I think there is a my what is it called scam, so you can reach out to me. I can share some of the storybooks to you. Right now I'm trying to expand my organization to um, Australia, but I don't know. I can send to I can expand to Africa yet, but you can read my stories through our website, thatstoryproject.org, or you can reach out to me so that I can personally share the stories to you. And if you have any if you have question, let me know. We still have 1.5 minutes though. I was trying to finish in 30 minutes, but it take a lot of time. I'm so sorry. Okay. The last question. Do you still have last question? We have 1 minute. Thank you.
All
I
right,
think
all right. Thank you so much, Zane. It was really inspiring to hear your story. We really appreciate how you put your effort to recognize the challenge that the community is going through to help young children with this innovative way. I believe everyone here finds this very inspiring, and as social entrepreneurs, as leaders who aim to make change. So thank you so much for sharing, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Yeah, hope to see you in future sessions.
yeah. If somebody wants um the slideshow, you can share.
Oh, sure, yeah, sure.
Yes. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you. I'm so happy.
Read the recording is going to be posted on YouTube, so then you can also use the recording and spread it as much as you want.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.